mentioned some comments about Judy. You know very well how dear Judy was to all the members here on this body, and how we respected her for the last over 20 years. And she's a tremendous, tremendous loss to this legislative body. But that being said, I just want to make sure you know, though I know Judy was one of your most public and one of your most advocate supporters, that your concerns will not fall on deaf ears. We will continue to fight for your concerns to make sure that those protections are in that law. And I will make it my personal pledge, not just for Judy Jacobs, but on behalf of the transgender community, to ensure that every single person that feels that they can be subjected to some level of discrimination will have that protection in the law.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And I have a side note for Norma. I still have 8 lives left. I only spent one in the hospital.
I believe, and you have another birthday coming up on December 9th, correct?
6. You always say the 9th.
Is it a good thing?
You got the number upside down.
What day is it?
What? I lost my hearing aid. What can I tell you?
Okay, December 6th?
Yes.
Okay. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
And continue good health. All right.
Thank you.
And it was nice to see you. And you were missed for the past couple of meetings, so.
All the tubes are out of me now,
Oh,
and
that's
I'm
good.
recuperating.
That's good.
So watch
you're ready to do
yourself.
a dance. Okay. Okay, Joanne, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Tom Bruno?
Good morning, or good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tom.
You probably haven't seen us here for a couple of weeks because we felt as though things were going to be okay. But recently I'm calling to speak to you about the Nassau County budget for 2017. I know you all have a very tough decision to make in the next couple of days. We as a coalition of youth service agencies have stood before you many times, and we're here again today asking you to please do all that you can to ensure that the youth services in this county continue to be funded at full. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Tom. Jamie, voting shoots? Jamie, I don't know if I saw Joe. Did I say yes? Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Jamie Bogenschutz. I am the Executive Director of Yes Community Counseling Center. We have our resources, our building in Massapequa serving the South Shore, and Levittown serving the Levittown Island Trees communities. So I'm here today with my colleagues once again to talk to you about what Tom just mentioned about youth services and funding for youth services. You know, it's funny because we stood here earlier before and you were all celebrating the valiant efforts of our amazing police force. And interestingly enough, what I realize is that we have a lot in common. They serve and protect. We serve and protect. They see people at their darkest hours. We see people at their darkest hours, abused, addicted, depressed, suicidal, bereaved, and lost. They save lives, and we save lives. As a matter of fact, one of my social workers performed the Heimlich maneuver on an 8-year-old little girl last week and saved her life. They prevent tragedies in our neighborhoods, and we prevent tragedies in our neighborhoods. And you might think that those similarities should catapult us to the top of the list of any list that would say, you're not going to ever touch them because we need you in our communities to keep everyone safe and healthy. And yet, as we sit here today, both of our groups are being considered for dramatic funding reductions and even elimination. So you might say that this is not in your hands, that this is all in the hands of NYFA at this point. But we know that there's much that you can do. We know that you can get us off the table. The way you get us off the table is by finding other options and alternatives that keep this budget whole and keep NYFA away from us. Without our services, without our system in place, we're going to lose lots and lots and lots and lots of young people in this community. Every single day, all of us and all our agencies, from Elmont to Massapequa and all in between, do nothing but save lives. We really need you to do whatever it is you can do in a bipartisan way, because this is not about this side or that side. It's about all of you working together to ensure that we stay safe and that we are not here year after year after year singing for our supper. I went back through my notes and I pulled out a speech, a presentation that I made to you guys in 2003, and I could have been reading it today, except for that I wouldn't have been mentioning NIFA. So it's not changing, it's not getting better. We need you to do something to make sure that we stay off this chopping block. The kids of this county are looking to you to make sure that they stay safe and protected. And we are looking to you for the same thing. So please, whatever you have to do, wherever you have to find this money, please find it and get us out of harm's way. Thank you.
Pat Boyle.
Hello everyone, my name is Pat Boyle. I work with Gateway Youth Outreach in Elmont. First of all, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I hope you have a joyous one and a pleasant one with your families and whoever else you're going to be with at that time. I'd also like to welcome Legislator Drucker. Congratulations on being there. You have some very, very big shoes to fill. Judy Jacobs was an advocate for our cause on a regular basis like she was for so many others. And I hope that you can find it in your heart to be able to do the same thing. I want to talk to you about two different things. I read that editorial in Newsday today. And I agreed it's an editorial, it's not any of you talking, it's not anything that's going on there, but it really kind of made me a little nervous. The bottom line is that if some kind of funding isn't found, or some kind of revenue stream isn't found, or some kind of cuts that are going to be made, we know that we are non-mandated services, discretionary services. But I think after what Jamie just talked to you about, I don't know how you can feel that we actually are those types of things. So one thing that I'm thinking about is that the one thing that maybe could help us in the future, but I don't know how you're going to do it or will you do it, is maybe it's time that we do become mandated services. Maybe it's time that we start working with the state, and maybe it's time that we started working with the legislature here to make sure that we are not put on the chopping block every year. It's not like we're asking for more money. We're just asking you to give us what you gave us in the past. 1989, that's the last time that we received any kind of a funding increase, and it was small at that time. 27 years ago. We've managed to go out and find other monies to be able to plug the holes as far as being able to make sure that, we can pay our bills, which we have. We run businesses. We don't run nice little social service agencies. These are businesses we're running. I like the clock, by the way, it keeps you on time. The other thing that I wanted to talk to you about was contracts. Contracts haven't started going out yet. And it's not, I don't think, because the commissioners don't want them to go out. I think they do. But the problem with all of that is that if they don't go out soon, even if we are funded in next year's budget, which I really believe that you're going to work hard to do, we're not going to see any money until June. And that also puts us in a bad way as well, too. So I think what we need to do is to be able to make sure that we can start, the budget is passed. As far as I know, we're in it. So if the contracts can start to go out as soon as possible, then we can get the paperwork back and we can be funded. And we can make ourselves work as businesses. We all know, anybody who runs a business knows it's hard to run one when you don't have funding. All right, thank you very much.
Good afternoon, I'm Dr. Jeffrey Reynolds. I'm the President and CEO of Family and Children's Association. I noticed, Legislator Gonzalez, you knew Joanne's birthday. I hope I'm not here often enough so that you come to know my birthday. But it does feel like we're here year after year after year talking about the need for youth services and arguing once again for our survival. I'll tell you, in the past week, since it's become known that once again youth services are on the chopping block, I've gotten calls from residents at the county's only runaway and homeless youth shelter asking if we're going to stay open. I've gotten calls from staff about whether or not they're going to have a job come the holidays. I've gotten calls from federal and state funding sources who have said, we kick in to make this all work. Are you going to continue to have funding, and should we continue to fund you? And so the destabilization of these services is happening system-wide at a time when we can least afford it. Almost all of you at one point or another, if you haven't then you should, have spoken out about this region's heroin crisis. And most of you have done so very, very, very aggressively. And that's good, because it's one of the worst public health crises we've ever seen in this region. You need to connect the dots and understand that the services that we're talking about, or the lack thereof, have a big impact on what happens with this crisis. When we talk about a place for kids and families to go after school, we're talking about services that protect kids and keep them safe from drugs and alcohol. When we talk about school-based programs or judicial diversion programs, we're talking about the very things that, because they've been chronically underfunded, have led us to this point. Quite frankly, I want 2017 to be the year when we turn the corner in terms of this crisis. When we see a drop in deaths among 13 to 17-year-olds, where we see fewer kids being locked up, where we see fewer parents grieving the loss of their kids. Cutting these services virtually guarantees that 2017 will mean even more fatalities and more deaths. I'm asking you, with everything we have, please protect these services. Please make it so that we don't have to spend our time year after year coming to beg for what amounts to, in the scheme of things, a relatively small amount of money. And please, more than anything, connect the dots and understand that what we do today really matters in 2017 and beyond. So I thank you for your time and attention.
You're welcome. Joseph Smith?
Thank you. Before I begin, I do want to extend my thoughts about the loss of a great leader, Judy Jacobs. It was my pleasure to have known Judy from the very first beginning of this legislature, and like so many of you have said and so many of you have felt, her loss is just very, very hard to even imagine having happened, but it has. I welcome you, Mr. Drucker, and I know that you will do everything you can to live up to Judy's image and to Judy's reputation and to her efforts on behalf of the residents of Nassau County. So on that note, as Jamie said before, I too have gone through notes from the past. Over the years, I've spoken before this legislature many, many times on the same topic: youth services, critical services, essential services that unfortunately have been labeled discretionary services. But our kids, your kids, my kids, are not discretionary. The children of Nassau County, the families of Nassau County, rely on professional services to be able to live decent lives, to be able to have a sense of hope and opportunity, and not to fall prey to things like heroin addiction, to things like juvenile and adult criminal behavior, to things like mental disorders and suicide. And it's through the services that we have made available over the years and the systems that we have built and the coordination of services in our communities that have helped to save lives. Without those services, our communities will not be the kind of quality of life that we want for the residents of Nassau County. Each of you were elected. Each of you were elected to represent people in your communities. We didn't elect NIFA. How dare we come to the point that unelected people can make decisions to affect the quality of life in Nassau County, one of the wealthiest counties in America. There's something wrong with this picture. When the needs of young people and the needs of families are turned over to unelected people, there's something wrong. You have a responsibility to do whatever you need to do to balance a budget and not to do it on the backs of the children of Nassau County. Thank you.
Would you like to speak now or when the item comes up?
I'll speak now.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Swansky.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alex Slacky. I'm here representing AAA Northeast. As you probably know, I serve as a membership of about 300,000 Nassau County residents. I'm sorry if I'm a little bit groggy or maybe a little disheveled. I actually flew in from Hawaii on a red eye. I was on vacation and the weather was fabulous. Even when it rained, it was actually quite pleasant. Unfortunately, and this is a very forced transition, but unfortunately the only damper on the trip was the news that the public safety fee was being reinstated, or planned to be reinstated today at a lower level at $55. That's still unacceptable to us, and the reason is it just violates state law. In our opinion, the state law says the fine for a red light camera ticket in Nassau County is $50, and Nassau County now wants to say it's $150. To me, it's obvious that that's in conflict, and I don't have any sympathy for blatant red light runners. In fact, I went down to a conference, I spoke at a conference, the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, about red light cameras, and I praised Nassau County's red light camera program because I think there's a positive safety benefit. But the main issue here is that when you use traffic enforcement to balance the budget, then you lose that connection between the traffic enforcement and traffic safety. And the reason why I'm personally aggrieved by this is that I'd spent a lot of time thinking about, and I know a lot of academics and people in the transportation sector or criminal justice sector, think about how to set fines to balance deterrence and traffic safety with the need for proportionality and the need to not be so punitive. But it seems like here the balance is between the need to raise revenue for the county and the need to avoid political consequences for doing so. And it's, if someone came up to me and said that this was done, it was retracted, the fee was retracted and then put back in today for political reasons, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know if I could argue against it. And it's very frustrating because I think there's a real bad precedent that's set here today. And now we're saying that any city, any county, any town, any village in New York State can add whatever fee they want to a traffic ticket. I think traffic tickets should be about safety. And I think that's being lost here today if you're adding this $55 fee. I'm happy to continue the conversation with you, but I think really, the public safety fee in any format is a disgrace, really. And I think there's still time. I hope you believe that this is bad public policy. That's why I think you stopped it initially. There's still time today here to vote your conscience. I don't want to be Ted Cruz, but happy to continue the conversation at any point in the future, and thank you for having me here today.
You're welcome. Willie Jacobs.
Yes, good afternoon. I just want to make a public comment regarding the resolution for the regard to the secure LED signs for the Belmont Fire District. Of course, Uniondale is in definitely agreement with that. Anything for the fire department, as our Uniondale Fire Department is in stands with us for beautification for Uniondale. Ms. Gonzalez, have you tabled the contract B1116 for the Uniondale streetscaping project? Okay. Was that a no, or?
It's not part of today's calendar.
Okay, given that response, it is extremely disappointing and discouraging that the Uniondale Avenue streetscaping project contract B1116 has not been put on the legislative agenda. The majority of Uniondale residents strongly believe that this is yet another manipulative and orchestrated tactic to further disenfranchise a historically underserved minority community. Our thoughts are neither disillusional or fabricated. We understand that the struggle is indeed real. The residents of Uniondale are united and will stand up against injustice and systematic discriminatory practices. Thank you.
You're welcome. Jasmine Floyd?
Ms. Olson, is that Pearl and Heidi, are there any other speakers?
I don't have any other. Yes. I'll have to fill out the form.
I was just gonna make a comment, but I didn't want to comment and cut anybody off.
I have no other. I'll have to fill out a card after.
All right, so
Fill out a slip.
Okay, I will, right after this. Yeah, what I want to say is that I'm in complete Heidi Saft.
Name to the record.
Heidi what?
S-A-F-T. Yeah, what I want to say is that I'm in complete agreement with Pearl, and that I know that you don't know us and what we do for the community, but maybe you should. For the last 9 years, we have put our blood and our guts and our time into turning this community around. That's the community of Uniondale. I own a business. Pearl's a manager for a telecommunications company. We should be working right now, but we really, really care about Uniondale, and that's where we live. We've done things such as remove litter from planters. We plant more than 1,000 flowers every year in Uniondale. We go door to door and get people to clean up their businesses. You know, we don't get paid any money for this. I see that you're congratulating and taking pictures of different people who do a great job, such as the police. I think that's great. They're paid to do their job. We do all of this for not 1 penny. All of this lobbying for our community. I should be working right now, but I'm here instead. Why? Because I've devoted a good part of my life to making a difference. But we need your help and support. And you know, this money is there. The contractor is selected. You know, please don't use this, you know, don't use politics to stall something that's long overdue. Like I said, Pearl doesn't get paid. I don't get paid. We're supposed to be at work right now, both of us. This is the 3rd meeting in a row we've come to when we have jobs waiting for us. I have clients wondering, where am I? And I'm here. And why am I here? I'm not here to waste time. I'm not here to harass anybody. I'm not here to, you know, do something negative. You know, we're here to make, you know, to make good things happen in a community that's really been kind of shoved aside for quite a while. So all I'm saying is, you know, please just come together and figure out a way to let this project move forward. You know, you've got really good, caring people who are working together. You know, we've all put our egos aside. It's not about me. Nothing like that. We don't even ask, you know, for anything. So if you can just move it forward, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Heidi, would you fill out a slip so you're part of the record? You didn't fill out a slip either.
No, and I will.
Okay, your name is?
My name is Barbara Bora. I would just like to express and piggyback on everything that Pearl and Heidi's been saying. And I would like for you, the legislative board, to realize this is not about party. We represent people of all parties. Some of the people that you are denying have to put all of you or one of you in this seat. So let's forget about what party. It's not about party. We have non-partisan. We can't divide like you guys do. You have to come together like we come together as a community and stop thinking you're helping this side more than you're helping that side. Because there's a lot of all of us in all of the communities. And we, the people, put all of you in the seats that you're in. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, Jack McCloy.
Hold on, let's carry it. I just wanted to respond.
Okay, Mr. McCloy, hold on.
Give me 1 second, Jack. I'm sorry. I just wanted to thank Heidi Pearl and this forum for coming down today. Obviously, I think this has been transpiring now over the last few weeks, and I think what Heidi said was, she said it best, is that the folks that have been coming down here, that they're not getting any type of financial benefit. They're coming down strictly for love of their community, love of their area, beautification of their area, seeing their area represent what they truly embody in each and every one of themselves. And I can tell you, I mean, and I'm speaking now to our entire legislative body, all 19 of us, how many times have we held a community meeting and 10 people show up or 15 people show up on any particular topic, and we wish and employ and encourage people to show up more, to care more. And here we have a group of people, which a couple of weeks ago was well over 20 some odd people, and today we have some of the leaders from the North Street Garden Civic Association, where we have people that care. I mean, this is what we're looking for in Nassau County. This is what makes our jobs as Nassau County legislators easier, when we have that ability to build a bridge to folks like this in the community that care, that want to see their area be enhanced, that call the police, that are engaged with the police. They want to see their communities be safer. And it just seems like to me, today, as well as for the last few weeks, we are turning them away, and we are turning our backs to them. When at a time when we should be encouraging people to participate in their government and come up with ideas and renditions to make sure our communities are better and more enhanced, we are turning their backs to them over politics. So I just want to again thank them for coming down today and voicing their concerns on behalf of the entire North Street Garden Civic Association. Thank you.
Presiding officer. Jack McCloy.
Presiding officer,
I have 3 more speakers, and I would like to take them. Do you
I'll
know
be
what
brief.
time we started, Mr. Pulitzer?
About 25 to 30 minutes ago.
Okay, so I have 3 more speakers, and I would like to have them before I say, that's it. All right, I don't want them to be here and not be able to voice their concern.
I'll be brief.
I'm do brief, and you're not going to have 3 minutes, you'll have 1.
Sure. Thank you very much, Presiding Officer. And I just want to thank all those persons from Uniondale who came to speak here today. There was mentioned before about Legislator Judy Jacobs. May she rest in peace. She was an outstanding legislator. Also this year in 2016, we lost many community leaders, people like Mel Harris. And Mel Harris served as the president of that civic association, worked also under the county executive. And going forward in April, I understand that the Coliseum will, be reopening, and I just think it would be foolish to have just that side of Uniondale redeveloped and not the other side of Uniondale not redeveloped. And that's something that Mel Harris, I don't know if my new seat comes with a lower microphone, but okay. But I just think that in good karma and upholding the legacy of a man that worked for the county and cared a lot about this great county, that we reconsider this contract, Presiding Officer. I would truly appreciate that going forward, working with you on behalf of all of the residents of Nassau County. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. I'd like to remind you that I've attended every session for the last year. I'd like to remind you that the main reason for that was my opposition to the road diet that had been proposed for Grand Avenue in Baldwin. But since the last session, I want to let you know that I had a discussion with my legislator, Laura Curran, and we don't see eye to eye on this, but we do see eye to eye on some other important situations that I'd like to mention to you. There was a community meeting where Kavan Abrams and Laura attended in Baldwin, where the topic of discussion was the water increase proposal. And the recent October 26th